Welcome to Gamecock Pod Live.
For the next 3 to 4 years, I'll be committed to the University of Gamecock.
This is Rogers again to the 25, 20, 15, 10. Rogers scores! Jackie Bradley Jr. delivers for the Gamecocks. Lost it up, looking for Kelly. Touchdown! Can you believe it?
And South Carolina is sending shockwaves through the SEC.
Frederick! Plays it in at the buzzer! That's a win! Unbelievable!
Welcome to Gamecock Pod Live.
For the next 3 to 4 years, I'll be committed to the University of Gamecock.
This is Rogers again to the 25, 20, 15, 10. Rogers scores! Jackie Bradley Jr. delivers for the Gamecocks. Lost it up, looking for Kelly. Touchdown! Can you believe it?
And South Carolina is sending shockwaves through the SEC.
Frederick! Plays it in at the buzzer! That's a win! Unbelievable! I don't believe it!
And now, live from Studio 54 of the Gamecock Pod Studios, here's the Cockfather himself, Keith Alsep.
All right, everybody, welcome in to Gamecock Pod Live and Quarter Zip Wednesday. Whiteout last night, same results as the blackout. Gamecocks hang on and get a 68-65 win over Ole Miss to become just one of 5 teams in America to get to 20 wins. The other 3 are Purdue, UConn, Houston, and a team South Carolina beat, Grand Canyon. So one of 5 teams with 20 wins, South Carolina men's and women's basketball, now a combined 41-3 on the season and 17-2 in the SEC. The men, more importantly, go to 8-2. They have their easiest home game of the season Saturday against Vanderbilt to go to 21-3, 9-2 in the SEC. Then it's gonna get really tough down the stretch, but we will go in depth on that. And so, apologies, Matt Dowell was going to join us. We could not get his audio going. I switched every one of my audio settings. That's why we had a little audio difficulty to start the show until I could get that going. And so we will hopefully circle back around with him tomorrow on Gamecock Pod Daily. We will have Chandler. No, that's Friday. My bad. Emily Adams, formerly of the Greenville News, now of the Hartford Courant, she's gone over to the dark side. She's left Princess Leia and Luke Skywalker. She's gone to the dark side with Darth Vader, Gino Auriemma, and UConn. But can't wait to have her on the show to preview the UConn game. And then on Friday, Chandler Mack from WIS will be on the show. Well, I guess it don't matter how many damn times you tell the yard guys to be finished by noon, and they're still on their own freaking schedule. So some things never change. At least I didn't break the window. But at any rate, my apologies for that. All right, in other news, Gamecocks today not signing anybody to any scholarship tickets or scholarship papers, despite the fact that it is National Signing Day. But they do get Gaffney wide receiver Umazon Littlejohn, 6', 180, who turns down 14 full scholarship offers to join the Gamecocks as a preferred walk-on wide receiver. 6', 180 as a senior, 57 receptions, 869 yards, 11 touchdowns, 358 yards kickoff return with 1 touchdown. So there's that. Spencer Rattler, his draft stock continues to rise after an MVP for performance at the Senior Bowl. According to Pro Football Focus, quote from Trevor Sakima, who covered the event for PFF, so there's a case that Rattler helped his stock the most of all the quarterbacks at the Senior Bowl. Bo Nix and Michael Penix had their moments, but neither was the clear top quarterback. Meanwhile, Rattler had a handful of throws each day that reminded onlookers while he was once seen as a potential first-round draft pick. While consistency is still a work in progress, but if you didn't pay attention to Rattler during his time at South Carolina, you would have been shocked by his improved decision-making, even in practices, and by how well he throws with timing and anticipation rather than just relying on pure arm talent once guys get open. Rattler was named MVP of the game, going 4 for 4 with an excellent TD pass on the first drive of the game. Senior Bowl director Jim Nagy said before the week that the NFL is higher on Rattler than the media, which kind of felt like a hint he could be a day 2 quarterback come April. His performance was definitely a step in the right direction. So obviously pro days will be critical. The NFL Combine will be critical for Spencer Rattler and Xavier Legette, who had a great week of practice, but did not play due to a minor injury in the game. So there's that. And today is National Girls and Women's Day in sports. And so let's give a shout out to all the women athletes at South Carolina, but in particular, Asia Wilson, who made the car wash yesterday. Good Morning America interview with Robin Roberts on her book, Dear Black Girls. It came out yesterday, last night. She made her late night debut on The Late Show with Stephen Colbert in the Ed Sullivan studio on CBS. And that was really great. And the Aces get great news today as Candace Parker will be coming back. All right, so let's dive into that game last night. South Carolina and Ole Miss. The Gamecocks really just shot the lights out in the first half. And quite frankly, so did Ole Miss. I mean, Gamecocks in the first half were 18 of 29 from the field. That's 62%, and 7 of 14 from three. Conversely, LSU was 14 for 25 from the field for 56%, but they only made 2 threes. So the Gamecocks were plus 15 in threes. Even though they led 43 to 31. So plus 15 from three translate into a 12-point halftime lead. The Gamecocks came out in the second half and extended the lead to 17 points. And then the wheels kind of fell off. Like I said, it was a tale of two halves from the Gamecocks. Gamecocks in the second half, just 10 of 31 from the field and 2 of 13 from three. I thought they had some just awful looks from three at the end of the shot clock. They passed up better shots earlier in the shot clock, and just 3 of 7 from the free throw line. Gamecocks did not go to the free throw line at all in the first half. Ole Miss, I've never seen a team in today's basketball like Alan Flanagan, a lefty who led Ole Miss, okay? He was 11 for 15 from the field. All of them, either layups or mostly mid-range jump shots. 4 of 6 from the free throw line. He's about an 83% free throw shooter. He couldn't get anything. I mean, he was 4 for 6. So, he missed one, but Flanagan, outstanding, as was Morrell for them. He was 7 of 13 and 3 for 5. He had 17 points. Jalen Murray, he was 4 for 9, 1 for 3. Those were the 3 Rebels in double figures. Another bad BJ Mack game for South Carolina. Critical turnovers, 2 for 9 from the field, 0 for 4 from 3, 2 for 4 from the free throw line. A net of 0. Colin Murray Boyles. I am the president of the notorious CMB fan club. 16 points for the second game in a row, 8 of 11 from the field, 9 rebounds, 2 block shots, and I mean none bigger than in the last about minute of the game over 7'5" Jamarian Sharp was going for a monster slam, which would have cut it to a 3-point lead. Colin Murray Boyles is really about 6'6", okay? Maybe he is 6'7". He's got a massive wingspan. Jamarian Sharp is one of only 5 dudes to lead the NCAA in block shots for at least 2 seasons. He was a game-time decision. He bothered a lot of shots. I thought Meechie Johnson had a layup, and that dude was just like Plastic Man reaching out and swatting it away at the last second. I don't know how that was not a top 10 play on SportsCenter. But that was just a huge momentum play. Allowed South Carolina to run some shot clock. They did not convert. South Carolina took their biggest lead at 17 points. They led by 12 at halftime, 53-36 with 15 minutes and 42 seconds. Okay, the Gamecocks, then Ole Miss went on a 15-4 run a little bit later to cut it to 59-54. And with 7:03 to go, the run extended to 21-7 by Ole Miss. They cut the lead to 62-60 with just 7 minutes to go. Okay, 7 minutes to go at 62-60. And then it's a rock fight because both teams really dug it in on defense. In the last 7 minutes, South Carolina scored 6 points. Ole Miss scored 5 points. The Gamecocks did not score in the final 3 minutes and 47 seconds. They only hit one of their last 7 field goals. Ole Miss, after a Morrell 3 that cut it to 66-63 with 5:40 to go, did not score again until Flanagan hit his final jump shot with 38 seconds to go. So the Gamecocks held them scoreless for 5:02 during that stretch. And that was 1 for 9 the rest of the way. And so I pulled some stats on the last 6 games for some players here. I was listening to the second half coming back, and Derek Scott had talked about since the Arkansas game for Meechie Johnson. That was really when teams started really just saying, we're not going to let Meechie beat us from 3. We're just going to guard the crap out of him, even 28 feet away from the basket. Okay, I think he's only scored in double figures 1 time in the last 6 games. That was 11 points against Georgia. But what he's done in the last 6 games, 6 games. And last night, let's look at it. We'll go from Arkansas. But since the Arkansas game, 6 straight wins. Arkansas, Kentucky, Missouri, Tennessee, Georgia, and Ole Miss. 25 assists for Meechie Johnson. Just 5 turnovers. That is a 5-to-1 ratio. And Meechie, in the last 2 games, in the road win at Georgia and the win last night against Ole Miss, led the team in plus minus. He was plus 11 last night, plus 16 against Georgia, where he had 3 assists, no turnovers. So if you go to the last 4 games with Missouri, 19 assists, 1 turnover, for Meechie Johnson in the last 4 games. That's pretty damn good. So it's going to be you and me, guys, today. I'm in the Nana's Porch chat box. Jump in. Craig's talking about the way Colin Murray-Boyle snatches rebounds and fills up the stat sheet. Well, he does. And so I'm glad you guys brought that up, because Colin Murray-Boyle's in the last 6 games. Arkansas, plus 16, 11 points, 4 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 block shot. Against Kentucky, team high plus 21. Okay, so he's tied for the team lead. Well, I don't have Meechie's plus minus against Arkansas, but Murray Boyles plus 16, that led the team, plus 21 against Kentucky, 6 points, 9 rebounds, 5 assists, 3 block shots, and 2 steals. Against Missouri, 7 points, 8 rebounds, 2 assists, 4 steals. Against Tennessee, 4 points, 5 rebounds, 3 assists, 1 steal. At Georgia, 16 points, 5 rebounds, 7 of 9 from the field, 2 steals, 4 assists, and then last night, 16 points, 9 rebounds, 8 of 11, 2 blocks, and so he's averaging 11 points and 7 rebounds per game his last 6, and he's shooting 26 for 46 from the field. I'm pretty sure that's about 60%. Hey, we got Mindy in the chat. I love it. So you got Colin Murray-Boyles, and then I would say Talon Cooper has been the MVP in the last 6. He scored in double figures, the only player to score in double figures every single game. I mean, what he's done has been nothing short of amazing. At Arkansas, 4 of 5 from the field, 3 of 3 from downtown, 11 points, 4 rebounds, 5 assists, just 1 turnover, plus 14. In the upset win of Kentucky, 8 of 11 from the field, 2 of 4 from downtown, 20 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists, no turnovers, plus 12. Against Missouri, 4 of 5 from the field, 2 of 3, 12 points, 3 rebounds, 4 assists. He did have 3 turnovers. At Tennessee, 6 of 10 from the field, 4 of 5 from 3, 18 points, 5 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 turnovers, plus 9, which was a team high. Against Georgia, 3 of 6 on the road, 3 of 4 from downtown, 10 points, 3 rebounds, 8 assists, 2 turnovers, plus 11. Last night, 5 of 10 from the field, 2 of 4 from 3, 12 points, 4 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 turnovers for him. Talon Cooper has been on a tear. Okay, last night we also had, which was really critical for South Carolina, in my opinion, was even though he did not start, Miles Stute came off the bench, 3 for 3 from downtown in the first half, 1 for 2 in the second half. He finished 4 for 5 from downtown. He had 12 points, okay, to join Cooper with 12, Murray Boyles with 6, Meechie just 6. He was 2 for 9. Mack was 2 for 9. Morris Ugasuk off the bench, 2 for 4, including an amazing runner at the end of the shot clock. He had 4 points. Josh Gray, 2 for 5. He had 2 of his shots blocked by Sharp and Cisse. But he did have a dunk and then another dunk that was blocked that just made it in over the top of the rim. Gamecocks shortened the bench. Ugasuk got 10 minutes. Jacoby Wright, 15 minutes. They really bullied him when he was in there. So BJ Mack is 3 for his last 20 from 3. In the last 4. And if we go to SEC statistics, okay, and I mean, look, there were a lot of people when I said this against Mississippi State when South Carolina started off SEC play. I told you guys, BJ Mack was going to have a lot of bad matchups in the SEC. I mean, let's face it, he's limited. Yes, he's 6'8", 260. He's crafty. He's old school. He backs guys down. Okay, but I'm going to tell you right now, he can't jump over the Chapin Yellow Pages. He plays below the rim. Jimmy Dykes pointed out last week or last night. And when he is not making threes, except against like Missouri, he's just not that effective. He's had a lot of bad matchups. And look, I'm going to tell you right now, the men's schedule is daunting down the stretch. There are not a whole lot of good matchups for BJ Mack left. But let's get back to it. Okay, in SEC play, BJ Mack is shooting 35% from the field and 25% from three-point range. 11 of 43. Okay, if you're rounding up, you could say 26%. We'll give him the benefit of the doubt. And 36% because it's 0.356. Okay, conversely, Talon Cooper is shooting almost 55% from 3 and 54% from the field. Colin Murray Boyles in SEC play, 53% from the field. Okay, South Carolina, Josh Gray, 62.5% from the field in SEC play. Zachary Davis, 38%. Morris Ugasuk, 38% from the field. Jacoby Wright, 37%. BJ Mack, of the top 9 right now, which is all South Carolina is playing, has the lowest field goal percentage in the top 9. And other than Zach Davis and Morris Ugasuk, he has the lowest three-point field goal percentage on the team. And that's a problem. That's why you've seen more from Josh Gray, like against Georgia, when he had a great game on Saturday against Kentucky, on the road at Tennessee. I mean, look, Mack did hit a couple of shots against Tennessee. I mean, Craig, no doubt, Bama and Tennessee. So tonight, Bama and Auburn, they square off. I think if Auburn wins that game, it will be Alabama, Auburn, and South Carolina all tied at a top SEC play. I mean, we have a shot to win the regular season. I'm not going to say that we don't, but I'm going to say this, okay? Let's look at the schedule, okay? I said it yesterday. I'm going to say today. All right, Vanderbilt, statistically speaking, Vanderbilt at home, they're like I don't know what their net is, but it hurts my vertigo to scroll down that far. They were like 256 in the net. They got boat raced by Kentucky last night. Okay. After Vanderbilt, so you got home games with Vanderbilt on Saturday. Saturday, the 17th of February, LSU. Okay. Florida at home. They're ranked higher than you in the net right now. That's March the 2nd. And then you've got Tennessee at home in a revenge game for Rick Barnes with probably the SEC Player of the Year, Dalton Knecht, coming into Columbia. All right, your road games are at Auburn, number 8 in the net. At Ole Miss, who you think they shot it well last night, they go bonkers from 3 at home. Okay, that will be a very difficult win. But you know what? Auburn is a quad 1 road win, opportunity. Ole Miss will be a quad 1 opportunity. At Texas A&M, they're in the top 50 in the net. That will be quad 1. At Ole Miss, they're in the upper 30s right now. Every road game you have will be quad 1. Tennessee will likely be a quad 1 home game. Florida potentially could be. They're flirting with getting in that top 30. They could be a quad 1 road win. So I finally figured out this quad 1, quad 2, quad 3. So home games, quad 1 is 1 to 30. Quad 2 is, I'm pretty sure, 30 to 50. Quad 3, 51 to whatever. But quad 1 neutral site is top 50. Quad 1 on the road is top 75. So, look, Lamont Paris said it in his post-game press conference yesterday. Everything is out there for this team. There were times last night in the second half, South Carolina played uncharacteristic. They took bad shots. One time, South Carolina got a rebound. They got it out to Meechie Johnson, and he had Talon Cooper on a run out. And he held the ball, and South Carolina wound up not scoring on that possession. They took some early threes. They took some bad late threes. They challenged Jamarian Sharp at the rim too many times. I thought they could have pulled up in the mid-range out of his stretch and gotten him, been able to get a clean look. But right now, you're 8-2. There's no excuse to not be 21-3, 9-2 in SEC play. How many is it going to take? How many wins do you guys think it's going to take? Put your answers in the Nana Sports chat box. Will it be 13-5? I don't think anybody will go 14-4. 12-6 is not going to win it. But I think given the strength of South Carolina's schedule down the stretch and all the quad one games that they will have, I think they could be a 4 or a 5 seed. But I think they got to get to at least 12 SEC wins. If they don't get a top 4 seed and they're a 5, they need to win that first game in the SEC tournament. I think South Carolina, depending on how much noise they make, their seed could fluctuate. Things change quickly. It's going to be a very difficult schedule for South Carolina down the stretch after this Vanderbilt game. Other than maybe LSU, who I think if I'm rating wins, Vanderbilt, clearly the easiest win on the game on the schedule. Looking at the net, LSU, second easiest game in the net. And then I'd say your 2 home games, because you play so well at home, Florida, even though they're a little bit higher in the net, I think that's certainly much easier than Tennessee. That will be a revenge game. Tennessee, they got to win out. I mean, they are like 2 games behind South Carolina, Auburn, and Alabama right now. At least we don't have to play Alabama again or go to Kentucky. But at Texas A&M, that'll be a quad 1 game. Buzz Williams, that'll be tough. They've defended their home floor. At Ole Miss, at Mississippi State, at Auburn, all extremely difficult games coming up. All right, women's basketball. Kamilla Cardoso is in Brazil for that qualifying event, Olympic qualifying event. And so South Carolina will play the next 2 games without her. She should be back in time for the road game at Tennessee. Okay. She left following South Carolina's 85-56 win over Ole Miss, where Carolina just really opened it up in the second half. And so you got the Missouri Floppers coming in on Thursday. And then on Super Bowl Sunday on ESPN, you got South Carolina and UConn. And so Ashlyn Watkins, no doubt, Swatkins, moving into the starting lineup. And I think you're going to see more Malaysia Fulwiley, who has been named the SEC freshman or co-freshman of the week 2 of the last 3 weeks. And so I've gone back, I've looked at the last 6 games, and they do a real good job in the game notes breaking out SEC all games, and then the last 5. So I'm looking at the last 6 games for Malaysia Fulwiley. All right, she has been 30 of 62 from the field, 10 of 25 from 3, which I believe translates into 40%, and 12 of 15 from the free throw line. Meanwhile, Ashlyn Watkins has been 20 of 27 from the field, 12 of 16 from the free throw line. She's averaged 8 rebounds per game in the last 6. She's had 13 block shots and 6 steals. Okay, South Carolina, I mean, look, every game you're concerned. I'm not that concerned about Missouri. UConn, because of the injuries, they have downsized and gone to a smaller lineup. Tomorrow, Emily Adams will join the pod. Friday, we'll have Chandler Mack. We'll talk hoops. We'll preview the Super Bowl. We'll preview the weekend for Gamecock men and women's basketball. And so Paige Beckers and Aaliyah Edwards, they are on the Wooden late season watch list. Okay, guarding Aaliyah Edwards, who's a 6'4" senior. Okay, she's averaging 30 minutes per game. Paige Beckers, 30 minutes per game. Ashlyn Shade, who's a true freshman. She's moved into the starting lineup, as has KK Arnold. Okay, they average 29 minutes per game. Nika Mule, she started every game. She averages 30 minutes per game as well. Ice Brady is healthy now. She's averaging 15 minutes per game. And another freshman who I really like, Cadence Samuel, she comes off the bench. She averages 12 and a half minutes per game. Paige Beckers, 55% from the field, 47% from 3, 84% from the free throw line. She's averaging 20 points per game. Aaliyah Edwards shoots 60% from the field. She shoots 75% from the free throw line. UConn, nobody with 100 free throw attempts. Edwards has 99, one short of it. Okay, she averages on points per game 17.7, so 18 points per game. Ashlyn Shade, she's shooting 53% from the field, 36% from 3. She averages 11 points per game. She's crafty, 17 steals. Okay. Beckers, 52 steals. That leads the team. And then KK Arnold, a little point guard that South Carolina battled UConn for. She's right behind Beckers with 51 steals. She shoots 53% from the field, 43% from 3, 72% from the free throw line, 10 points per game. Okay, so 4 starters for UConn: Beckers at 20.3, Edwards at 18, Ashlyn Shade at 11, KK Arnold at 10. Okay, they've lost 3 players for the season: Azzi Fudd, Aubrey Griffin, and Caroline Ducharme, they're all out for the year. I mean, that UConn has been devastated by injuries. I do agree, but look, you never know with the transfer portal. And I'm going to tell y'all this, okay? Adele Tack, who is 6'6", she enrolled in January. She was the number 12 player in the country. She dislocated her kneecap. Okay, and historically speaking, from my experience as a high school coach, as a college assistant watching AAU basketball, when tall players have dislocated kneecaps, it's because they still have gaps in between their growth plates. Okay, I saw a 15-year-old in Greensboro, North Carolina, a long time ago. In an AAU event, he was like 6'9". I watched him snatch a rebound, throw it ahead. He took 3 steps up the court, which was well above the three-point line. Dude sat down. I thought maybe he was just tying his shoe. And I watched his kneecap roll from the top of his knee, okay, all the way over to the side. And he screamed in agony. It's other than a tib-fib compound fracture I saw at our conference track meet my junior year in high school on a triple jump. It's the worst injury I've ever seen in person, or at least tied for that. And so what I'm telling you is Adele Tack, when your kneecap dislocates like that, okay, it ruptures a ligament. But it's not like an MCL or an ACL. It is an 8 to 12 week recovery procedure. She's already doing stuff at practice, okay? If you watch the videos, she's got a very small sleeve on her knee. She's shooting around. I'm sure she's not jumping or doing anything. But what I'm telling you is by April, May at the latest, because I'm sure they're going to take their time and be cautious with her, she's going to be really good. How many players have you ever heard Dawn Staley compared to Aaliyah Boston? Not many. She compared Adele Tack to her. Tack broke a bone in her foot her junior year, but then played the whole spring and summer on the AAU circuit. She tore it up. She would have probably been a McDonald's All-American if she would have played this year. By the way, Joyce Edwards may be the National High School Player of the Year. She's putting up some just ridiculous numbers. She recently had a 51-point game. She's averaging 30-something points a game. Madison McDaniel will be in the McDonald's All-America game. So the only 2 signees you've got that are still in high school are going to be in the McDonald's game. But to get back to this UConn game, they're playing Paige Beckers, Ashlyn Shade, KK Arnold, and Nika Mule at guard, along with Beckers, who's playing essentially the power forward position. And then they're playing one big, Aaliyah Edwards, who plays about 10 minutes. And now they're bringing in Ice Brady. She's playing about 15 minutes per game. So sometimes they'll have Brady and Edwards on the floor at the same time. Okay, well, look, Chloe Kitts is not guarding Paige Beckers, okay? Ashlyn Watkins does not need to be guarding Paige Beckers. So what are we going to see? Well, South Carolina's going to play double big. They're probably going, they may start. I think probably South Carolina will start Sanaya Fagan and Ashlyn Watkins. And maybe Fagan, because she plays the 3, maybe she'll, I think Breezy will be guarding Paige Beckers. I think Ashlyn Watkins will be guarding Aaliyah Edwards. The key is Watkins has got to stay out of foul trouble. She is a much stronger post defender than Fagan. I mean, you look at the stats, 20 for 27, 13 blocks in the last 6 steals, 8 rebounds per game. You need her on the floor. South Carolina will probably throw a lot of players. Like I think you could see Raven Johnson guarding Paige Beckers. You could see Malaysia Fulwiley guarding Paige Beckers. But here's what I want to see, and they showed it for a few minutes against Ole Miss. Okay, you had a small lineup out there. I think you had either Raven or Pow Pow, and you had Fulwiley and Tessa Johnson. You had 3 of those 4, and then you had Threezy Hall and Ashlyn Watkins. I would love to see a lineup with Raven Johnson, Tahina Pow Pow, Malaysia Fulwiley, Threezy Hall, and Ashlyn Watkins against UConn. I'm just going to be honest, okay? It's time to take the cuffs off Fulwiley, okay? Nobody can guard her. She is South Carolina's best individual player off the dribble. She can get to the rim, she can get to the mid-range, or she can dish. Nobody can stay in front of her, okay? Her three-point shooting has been better in the last 6. In SEC play, so let's go back to that. It's all games. Against ranked opponents, Pow Pow shoots 44% from 3. Threezy Hall, 42%. Malaysia Fulwiley against ranked opponents, 50% from 3. In SEC play, Pow Pow, 42%. Threezy Hall, 50% from 3. Fulwiley, 10 for 31 against all SEC opponents, but 37 of 82, 45% from the field. Okay, Pow Pow, 48% from the field. Threezy Hall, 51%. Raven Johnson, 47%. Ashlyn Watkins, 59%. And real quick, if we just do the math, okay. All right, my bad. I did the wrong thing. Let's go. 20 divided by 27 equals Ashlyn Watkins in the last 6, 74% from the field. Okay, this is, along with your 2 games against Tennessee, the last threat that you have. And really at Tennessee after UConn without Cardoso and then Cardoso's first game back. Those are going to be your biggest challenges. But Tessa Johnson is coming on. Dawn Staley, we've seen her limit her lineup. I mean, Chloe Kitts in SEC play, 53%, 8 of 13 from the free throw line. Gamecocks in SEC play are shooting 73% from the free throw line. Okay, that is an improvement overall, particularly when you look at all games. South Carolina is only 67.5% from the free throw line. If we go back, what is it in the last 5? Well, the last 5 from the free throw line, Gamecocks 70%, 78 for 111. So early keys against UConn is obviously second chance points, points in the paint, and then not letting Paige Beckers and Aaliyah Edwards go nuts. Okay. Because you don't have your 6'7" rim protector. You got Ashlyn Watkins. Really one of the biggest keys for me in that game is going to be, can Ashlyn Watkins stay out of foul trouble? And then, is this a game for Sakima Walker? I don't know. She's kind of struggled. I think they may throw her out there just as a big body. But I really think Sanaya Fagan, Ashlyn Watkins, Chloe Kitts, they're going to have to really step it up defensively and on the glass. And then I think we're going to probably have to see, does Dawn Staley say, hey, you got to stop me. I'm going to just figure out how to stop you. I'm going to play different players on Paige Beckers. I'm going to put a bigger defender on KK Arnold so she can't get jump shots. But without Cardoso, it is going to be a different look. I'm excited to see what it looks like. And I'm excited for that game. It'll pass a couple hours ahead of the Super Bowl. But to me, guys and gals, this feels like a major Malaysia Fulwiley game at home against UConn. Okay, because I can promise you, UConn is not going to put Nika Mule on Malaysia Fulwiley. You know, will they try to put a quicker defender on Poa Poa to try to take her out of her three-point shooting? Because let's face it, the last 5 games for Poa Poa, she is 6 of 25 from 3. That is 24% in the last 5 games. And she was leading the nation. I think she still may be. But on the other side of the equation, UConn is a finesse team. They don't play great defense. It's all about their Princeton offense, backdoor cuts, action on both sides of the floor, swinging the ball and getting good looks at three because UConn loves to shoot the three. On the season, UConn has attempted 426 threes. The Gamecocks, I'm interested to see this number. All games for South Carolina. Okay, South Carolina. Well, I'm struggling here. Here we go. South Carolina's attempted, they made 143 of 348, which is 41% in all games. In SEC games, 57 of 141 for 40%. And a lot of that is because Poa Poa, like I said, in her last five, has not been very good. So we've seen teams take the same strategy with her as with Meechie. The difference is Poa Poa is not as quick or explosive. She is crafty. She doesn't need a whole lot of space to get a three off. I definitely think we'll see more screens. We'll see more staggered screens. We could see some baseline screens to try to free her up. And I think a big key for South Carolina is getting out in transition and Poa Poa getting good looks in transition for three. South Carolina is a quicker, more athletic team. They're 21-0. They're 9-0 in SEC play. They're the consensus #1 team. Nobody thought that in the preseason, but all it took was 2 games and 1 week until they put out the first regular season poll, and South Carolina went right back to the top. All right, so thanks to everybody for joining. Craig, I definitely agree with you. Nobody can stay in front of Fulwiley. Would we rather be a 4 seed far away from home or a 6 in Charlotte? All right, so what do you get? You get a 6-13, and then I think you probably play the 3 seed next. All right, so 4 seed, you get a 4-13. Then you would get the winner of the 5-12 to go to the Sweet 16, where then you would play the 1. I think if you're a 6 seed, you'd be in the half of the bracket with the 2 seed. I mean, look, it all depends on the matchups to me. I mean, I will say this. North Carolina men's basketball, what in the hell has happened to you? Okay. My whole life, Clemson has never beaten you in the Dean Dome or in Chapel Hill at Carmichael and the Dean Dome. And now Brad Brunell, who has the personality of a cardboard box, actually has more personality than Brad. And I like Brad. He's a nice guy. I've known him since he was an assistant for my dude, Jerry Wainwright at UNC Wilmington. Also on that staff, by the way, Rod Terry, who is now the head coach at Texas, who's kicking ass and taking names. Clemson has won twice. They knocked off number 3 or 4 North Carolina last night in Chapel Hill. I don't understand. They now have one player, Baycott. He is the only player to have the dubious distinction of being the only North Carolina player in the history of Tar Heel basketball to lose 2 home games to Clemson. It's unbelievable. Clemson up to 31 in the net. Look, hey, Gamecocks, that's one of your losses. That is a quality loss, right? Okay. Clearly a loss at Alabama. That is a quad one loss, as is the Clemson loss. The Georgia loss at home is really the only bad loss. You avenged it. I mean, we could be sitting here at 21-2 and 9-1 in SEC play if the Gamecocks hadn't to put up that stinker against Georgia at home. But I'll say this. I think it really helped South Carolina because Lamont Paris said the next two games, instead of doing 2-day preps for their opponents like you would normally do, they spent 1 day before Arkansas, 1 day before Kentucky, just working on what they do. Pack line defense, keeping ball handlers in front, not going for steals, not gambling, not giving up layups. Okay, they worked on boxing out, which is finishing a possession. Just like in football, you want to end every possession with a kick, right? Either a PAT or a field goal or a punt. You don't want turnovers. In basketball, you want to end every possession when you're on defense with a rebound. Hopefully a one and done rebound. And since then, outside of the last really about 12 minutes when South Carolina just melted down, but held on in a rock fight the last 7 minutes against Ole Miss, they kind of got out of their comfort zone. So they got an opportunity. You're playing Vanderbilt. I'd probably take 1 day to work on fixing my half-court offense, on being a little better, getting into your shots maybe a little bit sooner, not having so many bad end of shot clock shots. Obviously, you're not playing another 7-5 guy. You're not going to have as many shot clock violations. But whatever you do, you want Talon Cooper to absolutely stay on fire. I really don't think Lamont Paris cares that much about. I mean, obviously, you want to free up Meechie for some more looks. I think you need to get Josh Gray into the game more. Okay, you got to find a way to get BJ Mack untracked. Maybe it's corner threes. I don't know. I think down the stretch, he's going to have some bad matchups. I can't say I've really watched Florida play. Auburn, they got a bunch of dudes. Mississippi State, Tolu Smith, that is not going to be a good matchup. Texas A&M on the road, LSU at home, Florida at home. I think that 7-5 dude, he blocked 9 shots against Florida. So everything is out there for both of these teams. South Carolina, they will have an opportunity if they can win enough games to win the SEC, to secure a top 4 seed and a double bye, okay, in the tournament. Honestly, it wouldn't kill me, though, if South Carolina's a 5 seed and they get to play a game in the second round after the play-in games. But Colin Murray-Boyles, let's make no mistake about it, okay? This guy has arrived now. We're seeing the same guy minus the 3-point jumper that he had going this summer. I mean, what a wingspan. I mean, he is making grown man plays at the rim against older, more physical dudes. Craig just says Damian Cardwell, 6'11" for Auburn, played on his son's AAU team. I bet they were pretty good, Craig. But Colin Murray Boyles, crafty, great footwork. I think he's got to start. Everybody's going to start playing him to make him turn right. It's hard, though, because you don't see a lot of left-handed post players. I said I was going to say this off the top, and I forgot. I saw on the message boards and a group text I got going, guys trying to figure out who Colin Murray Boyles plays like. Well, I saw Julius Randle. Well, no, he's a lot more skilled. Julius Randle was a brute. Colin Murray Boyles reminds me of how Asia Wilson played her junior year when South Carolina won the national championship. Okay, he is a high post player that can shoot the elbow jumper. If you get up on him, he can drive past you. He's a great passer, a great offensive rebounder, a shot blocker. Asia Wilson, SEC Defensive Player of the Year, okay, as a shot blocker and team defender. Can put it on the deck, can go by you, can make you pay if you slump off. But at the rim, sneaky good, tremendous offensive rebounder and finisher. And that's why he's shooting so well in his last 6, is because he's making cuts. He's finishing at the rim. I think he's got to use his right hand some down the stretch. Teams are going to get on that scouting report. He loves to turn back to the middle with his left instead of turning to the side and finishing with the right. I think we're going to have to see that some. Want to continue to see him get to the free throw line and knock down free throws. We got to have good Miles Studi and good Josh Gray in these road games because every game after Saturday is really a coin flip game, guys. Maybe not LSU, but, you know, if you play like you did against Georgia, you're probably going to be in a nail biter in that game at home. Not if you play like you did against Georgia on the road. South Carolina's got to bottle up that energy and get on the road. All right, hey, thanks for hanging in with me. Matt Dowell sends his apologies. Hopefully we can get him back on tomorrow. Emily Adams from the Hartford Courant. And then on Friday, Chandler Mack from WLTX. We'll be talking a lot of hoops, and we'll preview the Super Bowl, and we'll preview that gargantuan matchup against UConn for women's basketball and look ahead at the schedule for both teams. So this has been Gamecock Pod Live for February the 7th. Episode number 1410. I'm going to get out of here. God bless you all. Go Gamecocks. And I'll be back tomorrow on Gamecock Pod Daily. I'm out of here.